Now let's discuss how to pass and return a 2D array using dynamic memory allocation. Okay, so the execution starts from the main function, but before which we have to give the preprocessed directive hash include stdio.h hash include stdlib.h because I'm going to allocate memory dynamically. Int main. So I'll declare two variables r and c to know the row value and the column value. Scan of %d ampersand r comma ampersand c. I'm getting the row value and column value from the user. I'm declaring 2D array int arr of r and c. Fine. Now I'm going to get the input value from the user. For int I is equal to 0, I less than r, I plus plus. For int j is equal to 0, j less than c, j plus plus. So I'm going to get the array elements from the user. Scan of %d comma ampersand arr of I, arr of j. I'm getting the array elements from the user. Fine. Now I'm going to declare a double pointer int star star result is equal to, I'm going to call an array called cut. I'm going to call a function called modified array. I'm going to pass three arguments, that is arr, r value and c value. So here I'm calling a function called modified array. I'm passing three arguments arr, row and column. So let me define that function int double star because I'm going to return a 2D array. Double star modified array int double star arr comma int r comma int c. Fine. Now I have to declare a 2D array. So this 2D array I'm going to allocate the memory dynamically. So if you are watching this video, I suggest you to watch a dynamic memory allocation video first, then come back to this. Only then you can understand this very clearly how the memory has been allocated. So I have given the video link in the description. Please watch it. So I am going to allocate memory. So I am going to take a variable res. So first I'll allocate memory for row. So int star cast type, right? Star malloc r into size of int star because it is going to store only the address. After that I have to allocate memory for all the columns for every row. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than r, I plus plus star res plus I is equal to int star malloc c into size of int. So I have allocated memory for the array called res. So I have taken 2D array, so I have allocated the memory. So this is static memory allocation. Okay, memory selected by the compiler. This is dynamic memory allocation. Memory is allocated by the user. So by using the malloc function, we are allocating the memory. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one element from the 2D array and I'm going to multiply by 2 and I'm going to return this array. So for that I'm going to take for int I is equal to 0, I less than r, I plus plus. Similarly for int j is equal to 0, j less than c, j plus plus. So what am I going to do? In res of ij, what am I going to store? I'm going to take the value from arr of I j and I'm going to multiply by 2 and I'm going to store it in res of ij. That's it. So it iterates the entire array. After that I'm going to return res. So whatever the value stored in the array res, that will be returned by this function, that will be stored in the variable result. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to print the elements. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. For int j is equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. So printf %d space result of I j. Done. Once after printing this, what I'm going to do, I'll give a new line after printing the first row. So I'll give /n. I'll give a semicolon. That's all. Let me print and check. Later we'll delete this dynamically allocated memory. Okay, this is not n or c, row value and column value. That is a mistake I've made. Let me run the code. So I'll give 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm not getting an output. There might be reason behind this. Okay, so here in the function argument, I'm passing it as int star star arr. So here I have given static memory allocation. In that case, first I have to give row value, column value, and then only I have to give the array. And then only I have to give this array. Okay. Similarly here, first I have to take the row value, column value, and I have to take the array like int arr of row and column. Because first I need to know what is the row size, column size, and then I have to give here, because here I have given static memory. Int arr of rc, I have taken static array. So first I have to mention the row, column, and then only I have to pass the 2D array so that we can allocate memory for this particular 2D array. Now this works. 3 rows, 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See here, it works. Okay. So if I want to give the array first, so it should not be allocated statically. This should be allocated dynamically. So this array also should be given dynamically. For example, I'll change this code. Int star star arr. So arr equal to int star star malloc r into size of int. So this also has to be allocated dynamically. I is equal to 0, I less than r, I plus plus. What I'm going to do? Star arr plus I is equal to int star malloc c into size of int. So memory has been allocated dynamically. Now I'll get the input value from the user. Int I is equal to 0, I less than r, I plus plus. Then for int j is equal to 0, j less than c, j plus plus. Now I'll get the input value from the user. Scan of %d, comma ampersand arr of I j. Okay, so here I can give ampersand arr of ij, or by using star, which we have discussed dynamic memory allocation, you can give it in that way also, it works. Now when I'm passing the array, I can give arr comma r comma c. Let me save. So here also first I can pass the array, because arr is a dynamic memory allocation. The memory is allocated dynamically. Int star star arr. Let me save this and let me run the code now. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, I've got the value. So in the earlier case, why I was not getting the value is I have allocated the memory statically for the 2D array. When I am passing this array, first I have to give the row value, column value, then only I can pass the array after knowing what is the size of row and size of column. Okay, that is why I am not getting the output in the earlier case. But in this case, I am passing the array first because I have dynamically allocated the memory. That's all.